right. You guys ready to start?
Yep.
Start with the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Amen.
I feel like you're here with all your friends tonight, aren't you?
Yeah, every last one.
Adoption of agenda. It is recommended that the agenda of the July 18th, 2024 regular meeting of the Board of School Trustees be approved as presented.
Motion. Second.
All in favor? Approval of minutes. It is recommended that the minutes of the June 13th, 2024 regular meeting of the Board of School Trustees be approved as presented.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Statements or questions from the public?
We have no public, so I'm gonna
There
miss.
are none. Moving on. Administrative recommendations. Claims. It is recommended that prepaid and June claims numbered 101,448 through 101,604 be approved as presented.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Personnel, it is recommended that Skylar Thomas be hired as an instructional aide at Fountain Central Junior Senior High School for the 24-25 school year.
Skylar comes to us and very energetic and passionate about special education. She has several years of experience in other school corporations and should be an asset to us. She'll be working predominantly with our high school students in mathematics.
Motion. Oh, good. Amy,
Motion.
I'll second.
All in favor? It is recommended that Lindsay Purley be hired as an instructional assistant at Fountain Central Junior Senior High School for the 24-25 school year.
As you're all aware, Coach Purley is our girls volleyball coach, and we had an opportunity to get her into the building full-time, and it benefits us in many ways.
Motion. Go ahead, Jim.
Motion. Second.
All in favor? It is recommended that Alan Clifton be hired as a half-time building trades teacher for the 24-25 school year.
I believe 2 years ago, with the growth of our building trades program, we hired an assistant for Coach Acton to work through that program. That gentleman is left for a different position. Mr. Clifton comes with a long resume in both education and the industrial technology field. Has a previous working relationship with Mr. Acton, so it's going to be a great fit for him to come on and work with us half-time with our first-year students.
And I would like to add to that because it's a CTE program, we do not totally encumber the cost of that employee. It's proportionate share depending on what percentage of the kids in the program in his class are from Fountain Central. We pay that percentage of his costs.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? It is recommended that the resignation from Suzanne Harrison be approved as presented.
Motion. Second.
All in favor? It is recommended that Noe Gonzalez be hired as a math instructor and facilities maintenance instructor for the 24-25 school year.
I know he's been with us now for several years. I would say he's done everything but drive the bus, but he's done that too. And, he's pursuing an opportunity or a degree and credentials as a teacher. We had an opportunity to get him into our building in a more academic role this year. The facilities maintenance program is another WRCTE program. The gentleman who had previously was the halftime building trades teacher, the other half of his job was facilities maintenance. Dr. Grimes and I met with Mr. Newby with the change at Covington. We have an opportunity to bring that program here, so our hub for that program will be here. It's been a program that's been beneficial to a bunch of students, and Noe's going to lead that for us, as well as provide math instruction.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? It is recommended that Stephanie Perkins be hired as the choir teacher at Fountain Central Junior Senior High School for the 24-25 school year.
Mrs. Perkins came aboard as our choir director late last October when we had an unexpected resignation. She filled in last year as a long-term sub. We kind of were in a holding pattern this summer to see how she was going to obtain a credential, and once that path to licensure became a little bit more clear, we're recommending that she comes on as a permanent fixture in that music department. She did a fine job in a very difficult role coming in midstream, and we're excited to have her back, and she's very pleased as well.
And I want to tack on to that too. The path for licensure that we will need to do with her while she finishes some other work for the state is to hire her as an adjunct teacher. Indiana law allowed that. It started about 2 years ago. We have not hired anyone through adjunct. Basically, it means she gets licensed by us and not the state until she gets the credentials that the state requires. So as long as she has a certain number of years of experience, which she does, we're allowed to hire someone as an adjunct. A teacher that's hired adjunct by state law cannot be a member of the union, doesn't have the bargaining rights. We set up what the contract would be, but my recommendation would be it'd be the same that another teacher have when it comes to salary, benefits, whatever.
And she'll have a Indiana Department of Education teacher's license prior to the conclusion of the school year.
Right, and then we'll just take her off of adjunct and put her on that.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? It is recommended that the termination of Ellen Howell be approved as presented.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Handbooks. It is recommended that the 24-25 student handbook for Southeast Fountain Elementary School be approved as presented.
Okay, neither Mrs. Morgan nor Mr. Baines were able to be here tonight, but I just want to highlight a couple of the changes in the handbook from last year to this year. The changes that they made correspond with either new policies that this board adopted last year or new legislation that Indiana adopted last year. So some changes, for example, an excused absence, now exhibiting at or participating in the Indiana State Fair or a member of the student's household can now count as an excused absence, whereas before those were unexcused if they went there. Personal illness with a note from a parent can now count as excused absence, and before it had just a note from the parent didn't excuse someone. But a parent, guardian verified absent is defined as the guardian's choice to keep the child home for the child's own best interest. 4 days per semester are allowed, or as approved by a building administrator, any day beyond 4 will be considered unexcused absence. And this ties into Indiana's new law about that. Vacations and planned absences. Students who wish to be excused from school for vacations or other planned absences must submit a form 2 full days before the first of such absence to enable schoolwork to be made up for credit. Once the form is submitted, the attendance secretary will communicate with the parent and the student's teachers to determine if final authorization will be granted. All absences of this nature count toward the 10-day limit, and the parent or guardian should contact the school personally to arrange for such absences. And again, that relates to Indiana's new law. There are some changes with our bullying about when a report of bullying is made to administration, the following steps will be taken. They will conduct an expedited investigation based on the report received, which includes but not limited to interviews with the student allegedly being bullied and anyone accused of bullying, any copies of electronic evidence, any witness, etc. They will report the bullying incident to parents of targeted students and the alleged perpetrator within 5 days of the report, provide support services for the victim and bullying education for the alleged perpetrator, provide the targeted student with a safe and peaceful learning environment, determine whether the incident of bullying may warrant the transfer of the victim or the alleged perpetrator to another school within the corporation. We only have one elementary school though. And a record of all findings will be kept. However, this is not considered a public record and will not be shared with families involved in the report. This is all connected to Indiana's law for bullying. So that is now in our handbook. Social media opt-out is being added. Southeast Fountain Elementary utilizes various social media platforms to publicize school events and student accomplishments. Students may be featured in posts, pictures, and other school-related spotlights. But if parents wish for their students to not be featured in any of our social media accounts, they may elect to opt out. In order to opt out, a written request must be submitted to administration stating their student is not to be featured on those platforms. And once administration has received this request, the student will no longer be pictured in any social media post. Cell phones and other devices, we already changed our plan. The only thing that was added in here was now there's Indiana code that goes along with, so they've added that code into the handbook. If other changes have to do with if there's someone with a deadly weapon possession, we already had 10 days suspension, pending expulsion for 2 semesters, and police called, and the student will be taken into custody, and then it's up to because then it becomes a legal matter, and the police determine if the child goes home or not. That's not our choice. Other changes really in here mostly have to do with changing the date to update for the school year, an update to the medication policy, because when you approve now, they've added that students can self-carry with the doctor notes only the EpiPen, the asthma inhalers, those things that you approved last spring. And those are essentially the changes in the elementary school's policy. Oh, there's one other, student drop-off in the morning. They've added to that, vehicles dropping off students must pull all the way up to the orange cone, because we've had parents stopping anywhere, which adds to our car line ending up being out in the street. So there will be a cone they have to pull all the way up to. If drop-off and pickup procedures are not followed, administration will ask that alternative transportation be found. No traffic should take place directly in front of the building due to bus drop-off. But in other words, there will be clear procedures, and people who are not following it won't have the option of dropping off students. They'll either have to use the school bus or have someone else drop off their child. So those are the changes that we're asking you to approve in the new handbook.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Other business. It is recommended that the additional appropriation resolution be approved as presented. Yep. I've got some stuff to read here on this one. Under other business, the next item on the agenda is for the board to hold an additional appropriation hearing on the proposed bond proceeds. If you are interested in speaking at the hearing, please make sure you have provided your name and address. There will be an opportunity for the public to make comments about the additional appropriation. At the hearing, we will ask that each person limit their comments to 3 minutes and that the topic be limited to the proposed appropriation of the bond proceeds. The notice of this additional appropriation hearing was published as legally required. We will now open the public hearing. Remember, if you would like to speak, please sign in on the sheet which is located at the back of the room. As I mentioned earlier, we ask that you state your name and address, limit your comments to the proposed additional appropriation of the bond proceeds, keeping the comments to 3 minutes and avoid being repetitive if possible. May I have a sign-in sheet now, and I will begin calling the names of those who are interested in speaking.
There's no one here, so there is no one signed.
Moving on, would anyone else like to speak?
Any of you?
If so, please state your name and address and sign the sign-in sheet after you are done speaking. Thank you to all who participated in the hearing. We will now close the additional appropriation hearing and reopen the regular meeting. Could I have a motion and second to adopt the additional appropriation resolution?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Could I have a motion and second to adopt the resolution assigning construction bids to the building corporation once received?
Motion. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Could I have a motion and second to adopt the resolution approving the master continuing disclosure undertaking?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Then do I need to,
Just go to number 4.
number
We just
4?
did all those.
Okay, all right. A motion was made to approve insurance settlement agreement in relation to lawsuit filed in case number 23C01-2301-CT000006, Fountain County Circuit Court.
This is not a direct payment from the school. This payment will come from our liability insurance. And our insurance company is recommending this settlement versus going to court because they just feel that this is a better choice.
Motion.
I'll second.
All in favor? It is recommended that SEF teacher evaluation timeline be approved for the 24-25 school year.
This is not a change. This is something that you're asked to approve each year so that we can do our ongoing teacher evaluations.
Motion. Second.
All in favor? A motion was made that the policy number 426 teacher appreciation grant be approved for annual submission to the Indiana Department of Education.
We have not made any changes this year to policy 426, but in order for the state to provide us with the funds for a teacher appreciation grant, I have to show that you've considered this and approved it each year.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? It is recommended that the Southeast Fountain School Corporation be allowed to host a sale of surplus items on July 26th from 8 to 4.
Okay, I'm going to share with you policy 513 on disposition of surplus property. The superintendent's authorized to dispose of surplus property by selling to the highest bidder or by having the property appraised. and selling it at an equal amount to or in excess of the appraised value by donation to a non-for-profit organization or other government entity, or if the property has negligible value, by discarding the property as trash. Disposal of property purchased with federal funds shall be disposed according to federal law or regulation, and all transactions are to be reported to the school board. That is why I'm bringing it to you today, that last statement specifically. We have a number of older tables and things that we've replaced over the years, but the other things are taking up storage space and not being used. We would like to sell it in the manner of having a rummage sale, if you will, advertise that we have the stuff and let people purchase those that they want, and things that are usable that don't get purchased, we will then donate to an organization, and anything that is not worthy of donation will be disposed of as trash.
Where's it going to be held at?
It will be held here in one of the school gyms.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor? Discussion items.
All right. The first thing that I want to discuss is I want you to start considering, this is not something we're voting on tonight, but I would like us to look at changing from a 26 pay period to a 24 pay period, where pays will be on the 5th and 20th of each month. That by doing so, it eliminates some months we have a third pay period, and then we have to change in our accounting system to take out the deductions and so forth. It also, by having a 26 pay on those months that we have three pays, it affects our cash flow balance for the district. By moving to 24 pays, it would, some of the benefits for the employees, specifically teachers, their paychecks would actually increase because then their pay is spread over 24 pays instead of 26. Employees can manage their personal household budgets because they would get paid the same dates each month. So if they know their payments are the 5th and the 20th, then they can set up payments to come out on the 6th and 21st or whatever, knowing that that's always going to be it. Some employer benefits, consistent cash flows each month out of the year, to less payrolls to process during the year, which is a savings to the district, and we're trying to save funds where we can so we have more funds for programs and salaries and those kind of things. As I mentioned, benefits don't have to be, we don't have to turn off certain deductions for a third pay each month. And the other thing that we're about to run into, by getting paid every other Friday, we're about to hit a calendar where there would end up being 27 pays in a year. That means we would have to withhold someone's check, we would have to withhold employee checks on that 27th pay until after the beginning of the next year, because that would affect very much so our annual budget as well as taxable incomes of our employees. So this eliminates that problem. Another problem right now, salaried staff have to work sometimes at the beginning of the year 3 or 4 weeks before they get that first paycheck. And so it would help us with adjusting that. By setting it the 5th and the 20th, there would be no payrolls the last few days of December or the first few days of January, which enables us to work on that year-end processing a little better. So that I would not want this to go into effect immediately at the start of the school year, but in discussion with our treasurer and our payroll specialist, we would really like you to consider moving to this beginning in January of 2025. So however much is still owed to people, it would be spread over the number of checks remaining. So that's the first thing I want you to think about and start considering. The second thing, some of our neighboring districts, non-certified staff are paid year-round. Currently, our non-certified staff are paid during the school year, and then they go all summer without a paycheck, or Christmas break without a paycheck, and so forth. If we moved them to a salary based on what they make, then that would enable us to also pay them throughout the year. Now, the upside is, if we do this beginning, not this school year, but a year from now, so that staff know and can plan for that, they would still get their raise that they typically get each January. Then I would like to move them to an August raise so that everyone on the district, basically, we all be on the same July 1 to June 30th year. And their pays would be split over the 24 too. I just think that could help some of our employees who go without paychecks for the summer and help with that situation. So it's not something I'm asking you to vote on tonight. As I said, I'm putting that out there. I want you to start thinking about it. I also will, when I do listen and learn talks with staff each year, I will start talking to staff and certainly communicate with you if I get a lot of pushback from it, or if I get a lot of acceptance, or if there's a balance in there. That will be communicated to you again as we make this decision. But I think that, any kind of change, there's some resistance and there's some bumps, but I think that this could be a good thing, because the other thing I want you to think about, when we have new staff start, the way the current pay is, the teachers who worked last year, the 23-24 school year, they're still going to be paid in August from what they did last year. Our new staff that get hired this year, typically they don't get their first pay until the 1st in September. This year, it happens to be August is one of the months with 3 pays. So they're going to get their first paycheck on August 31st. But they started working, our new teachers, August 2nd. And then they're not getting paid till August 31st. And then on top of it, we have to double deduct their insurance so that they can start having insurance in September, because you have to pay the month before. That's a real hardship on new employees. By going to this new system by next year, I'm hoping to fix that. The 5th would be August 5th would be the final paycheck for the 24-25 years. And the August 20th would be the first pay for the 25-26. So then our new employees only have to go a couple weeks until they get that first paycheck. The last thing with this that I will want you to consider with all of this, right now we have some employees whose contract is July 1 through June 30th, and that's most of our certified staff and our administrators. Then we have our non-certified whose contracts are January 1 through December 31st. This would put them on the same as certified. And you have me, because I was hired mid-year. I'm one of those January 1 to December 31st. I would like, when you evaluate me this fall, if you choose to give me a contract extension, only make it an additional 6 months. So then I get on that same July 1 to June 30th, and then you can reevaluate me in June and see, because I cannot have more than a 3-year contract. So you couldn't give me a year and a half now, but giving me a half year would help to do that. So I hope that you will think about that, consider that, so we can discuss it a little more, and I can share with you, any comments, feedback that I get from others.
So would that put everybody on that same schedule then?
It would,
We wouldn't have anybody else
right.
different.
And it could help with less errors with payroll too, if our, we have a new payroll specialist that just took over. And so starting to make these changes, then she knows she doesn't have to figure out, oh, this group is supposed to get a pay raise right now, but this group doesn't get theirs until January, and this group doesn't get it puts everyone at that same timeline on the category. And we're working really hard to have the same expectations with what we do for and with our non-certified and our certified staff. And this helps in that because everyone here is of equal importance, no matter what our job title is. We're all part of a team. Any other questions or comments about it right now? Thank you.
Statements from the superintendent.
First of all, you've probably heard in the state, there's a lot of information about science of reading. In fact, Indiana has now required that teachers, all elementary teachers, special ed teachers, and, there's certain group are going to have to get a science of reading endorsement on their license. Before that became effect, we had a number of teachers who took some modules by choice before it was the law. They participated in a program, and through that, they are now halfway to the amount of modules that are required for that other. But the program they took, we had 9 teachers who went through the entire program by their choice, and by doing it, they were awarded a $1,200 stipend check, a certificate showing that they have taken the extra step to receive this one-time stipend and complete these modules were no easy feat. It took a great deal of discipline, time management, and genuine passion for learning, all qualities that make our great teachers even greater. The time and dedication to furthering their knowledge and expertise in science of reading is commendable, and ultimately will help our students master the literacy skills that they need. So I want to acknowledge these 9 teachers publicly. Congratulations to Ashlyn Geigel, Danette Davis, Danielle Gookins, Donna Schiaffredo, Carrie Bowers, Kate Holliker, Kayla Blanton, Lindsay Wildman, and Tiffany Hilge. So I'm very proud of them and just wanted to acknowledge them. The second thing that I would like to share with you, you probably noticed we did not have building highlights on the agenda tonight. However, Kelly and Cameron did send something since they're not here. They asked me to share an elementary, a brief update. They wanted to say it was great seeing all of our students at the Fountain County Fairgrounds this week. It's crazy to say that we're just a few short weeks away from the beginning of the school year. We'd like to thank the maintenance, grounds, and custodial staff for their efforts in making improvements to our school over the course of the summer. Also, over summer break, we've had many staff members attend professional development opportunities on implementing best practices and strategies in their classrooms, as well as many staff members working diligently in their classrooms in preparation for the upcoming school year. We'd also like to thank our SROs for attending training. They are currently at a conference in Phoenix, and for helping bring a new threat alert system to our campus over the summer that puts safety of our students first and foremost. Quick reminder that registration begins online on Wednesday, July 24th. School supply lists have been shared and can be found on our district website under the elementary school. And we're looking forward to seeing everyone at Back to School Night on August 5th from 6 to 7 p.m. And school begins for students Wednesday, August 7th. A reminder, Wednesdays we have a 50-minute delay, and it is a delay day, and they hope that our families enjoy the rest of their summer. And then I would like to invite Mr. Shaby, who is our new principal at the high school, and he has been in there at it since he got that promotion. Is there anything that you'd like to update us on or something?
I wouldn't say updates, But, you know, thinking about it, there's been a decent amount of movement with staff and whatnot. But we've been able to navigate those waters with a little bit of thought, a little bit of luck, and we're feeling like we're in a good spot. I do want to echo the sentiments that Mrs. Morgan and Mr. Bain shared with just thanking that custodial and maintenance staff who are here all summer making improvements to our building. There's different times during the summer months that if you walk into our building, it looks like a tornado went through it, with things being moved out of the rooms and to get those classrooms in shape. But by the first day of school, it looks magnificent. You know, one thing that we just want to highlight that happened recently, we had our stage floor refinished, and then Dwayne Bush, who's a man of many talents, built a tremendous storage unit in that stage area that cleaned up a lot of things up there. That's going to make us more efficient in that realm. But just everybody who goes above and beyond and are always thoughtful and willing to do a little bit extra. We couldn't do it without them. And then they're really unsung heroes of our campus, so they definitely get the kudos that they've been given tonight.
Statements or concerns from the board?
I'd like to say, you know, thanks to all of our teachers, staff, administrators, for everything that you guys do and get ready to do now to be prepared for that first day. I know it's not, you guys don't just walk in the first day and it all happens. So thank you guys for all doing that. I've seen teachers out here already, you know, in their rooms doing stuff. We just want to make sure everybody knows that's greatly appreciated. It's kind of an above and beyond. So thank you guys for that. I think that new threat alert system is awesome, that we're putting those things in place to keep students and staff alike safe. I think that's one of the most important things that we have to do out here, is make sure we keep people safe. I know we live in what we think is a very safe and small community, but you just never know, right? So we appreciate that. And thanks to both of our SROs. I think we have two of the best SROs around. Couldn't ask for two better guys. I appreciate them and, you know, the things that they do above their job duties and titles. So that's all I have. Thank you, guys.
Document signing? Adjournment?
Motion.
Second.